Shalom, rainy ones. So today I'm going to be using my pressure canner as a pressure canner for the very first time today. I'm going to take you through this process with me, and I'm going to show you some things that I learned, what not to do. First of all, whatever pressure canner you want to use, I'm using the Presto. You want to make sure that you read the instructions on how to use your specific canner, and I'm just going to read this before I get started, and they do have a section on canning beans, so I'm going to read that as well. And then I'll show you the canner that I have. I have the Presto pressure canner. This is old. I bought this in 2013 and I never used it. So how many quarts is it? 23 quart. All right, so, and yeah, so we're gonna check it out. So today I'm gonna be pressure canning black beans, which I'm gonna have to steal some from my food storage that I already had put in the Mylar bags because I didn't have any out. Like I had these chickpeas, and I'm also going to be doing lima beans. Now, canning is actually one of my least favorite ways to preserve food, and I'm going to do another video to tell you why, but I do believe that you should have multiple different ways to preserve your food, but this is one of the least ways for me, actually the least way. So what I'm doing is checking all my glasses. When you pressure can, you don't need to sterilize your lids. I already washed and cleaned the glasses in the dishwasher, and then now I'm just checking for any cracks or breaks, and I did find one, so make sure you do check.
All right, so this is my
and then
canner.
Because I used my pressure canner for the very first time, I cleaned it out really well, and then I used it before. Actually, I think I'm telling the story. I used it to water bath can.
Is the lighting okay in
So,
here?
yeah.
I need to make sure the lighting is okay. I think I need another light. Hold on.
And because this is my first time actually using the lid, I do have to put that gauge on there. I did take off the rubber seal, the black rubber seal that you see underneath, and I gave that a good wash. You're supposed to do that for the first time using it. And so I'm going to put this on, and then we'll be all set to go to the next step. I almost forgot to mention the most special of the beans that I'm going to can today are my very own beans that I grew with my bare hands. My favorite is beans. One of my favorite beans is the scarlet runner bean. This is a really good bean to grow in period, but in survival, want to add to your survival food kit, you want to do the scarlet runner beans, honey, because they are perennial. Yes, honey, yes. And they taste like potatoes. They taste just like potatoes to me. And they're very firm and they're pillowy on the inside. Okay, so let's get this party started. Of course, I'm going to start with my scarlet runner beans. And I am filling these pint jars with half cup of beans. Of dried beans. I am using the no soak method. I am not pre-soaking these beans as you may see suggested on your canning book. And the reason why I'm not doing it is because I watched several bean canning videos, and most of the people say that when they pre-soak the beans, their beans turn to mush. So I'm going to go with the no soak method. Plus, it saves me time from doing an extra step. So it's going to be a half cup of beans to 1 pint, and I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of salt. This is not necessary. This is just going to be for flavoring purposes, but it is totally not necessary. Okay, honey, I got all of my beans ready, and the next step is I'm going to add my salt. And like I said, it's optional, but I do want to say one thing right now is what I learned is make sure you only prepare enough jars for how many times you're going to be canning for, because honey, I can only put 9 pint jars at a time. And at the end, I'm going to go over this in a little bit more detail, but just make sure that you have prepared the amount of cans that you're going to be canning, because I was up all night. I was up all night, and half of the next day took up my time canning. So there are 2 things that I'm going to do different next time, which I'm going to tell you at the end of the video. So after I add my salt, then I'm going to add my boiling water. Here's another thing that I learned. So make sure, because I was really like sleepy, but make sure that you add enough water so that once your beans finish cooking, it's supposed to be 1-inch space. So I can tell right now that is not 1 inch. I needed to put more water just by looking at it. But I was really paying more attention to doing the video and not really looking properly at what I was doing. So they do have like a little tool that you can measure for your headspace, but it needs to be 1 inch, so that to make sure that your beans stay covered, because if they don't, then potentially those beans that you leave that are left uncovered, and you'll see at the end, but those beans that are left uncovered because some of the water evaporated, then those beans will tend to dry out, of course, and get hard. So I am going to have to, do some more batches just for that purpose, but I'm going to show you at the end. So that is one of the other things that I learned. So I just told you 2 things that I learned. Okay, so after we fill them with the hot water, we're going to give them a stir just to release any air bubbles, and I'm also mixing up the salt. Just from looking here, I can see that 1 inch headspace is not there. It's ever so slightly below that little rim, and that's actually where the 1 inch headspace begins. But anyway, so once you give them the stir to release the air bubbles and mix up the salt, the very next thing is we're going to take some vinegar and some paper towel and wipe around the rim, so we can make sure that the tops of the jars are clean so that they seal properly. Make sure that you're using brand new lids. The jars are reusable, but the lids are not. So after we have cleaned off all the rims, we are going to put on our lids, and we're going to seal we're going to close the lids finger tight. So you don't want it to be so tight to where, no air can seep through, because that can cause your jars to explode. So it should just be finger tight, and I'll kind of show you what that looks like in a moment. Okay, so now my jars are ready. Now I need to add 3 quarts of hot water to my canner. Now I'm adding hot water because the water in my jar is hot, and so you don't want to add a different temperature water to the canner that's different from your jars. You can cause your jars to crack. So if the water in your jars were cool, and this is for any canning method, what's happening? Why are we looking out the window? Oh, I was just showing y'all my onions. Okay, I'm doing a video and show you how I planted my onions. But anyway, so according to my canner's instructions, that's where you got to read your canning book. It's 3 quarts of water. Now my hot water on the tap is extremely hot. It's almost boiling. So it's going, you don't want it to be too many degrees different from the water that's in your jar. Okay, so if your jars are warm, then the water needs to be warm. Okay, if your jars are cool, then the water in your canner needs to be cool. So I'm going to get that in there, and then we're going to add the jars. Almost forgot to tell you, I am adding 2 tablespoons of vinegar. This is to help keep the inside of your canner clean from like those hard water stains. So before I add my jars, I put that in there. Also, I have my rack at the bottom. You want to make sure that your jars are not directly touching the bottom of the pan, or they could crack. This is the third lesson that I learned is, honey, if you're going to be doing all that dang on canning and taking all that time, you want to make sure you have a double rack so that you can double stack your jars. That rhymes, double rack, so you can double stack. Okay, honey? Because this stuff, I'm going to tell you at the very end how much each step took, so you can know, honey, that this is some time consuming stuff. You got to babysit it. You got to be in the kitchen all day. So you want to plan for that. I really didn't plan for that. But anyway, like I said, it's my first time. I learned the things. Now I can tell you, so you don't have to make the same they're not mistakes, because everything came out wonderful. It's just, I like to be efficient. And so each time I do something, I like to get better and better and better so that I can be more efficient. And so I'm going to save you some non-efficient tasks. Okay? So I can only do 9 jars at a time. Those are my scarlet running beans. Notice that they didn't really sink. But anyway, I got 9 jars at a time. I have to do 11 pounds of pressure. That's based on my my climate altitude. My altitude, and I'm getting all this information from my canning book. And then it's going to can a pint cans for 75 minutes. Okay, so before we put our lid on, we need to check the vent pipe. That's where the steam is going to come from. So we need to make sure that it's not blocked. You should be able to see through it. So I can see the light on the other side, honey. So yeah, now we can put our lid on. Okay, so now once you get your lid on, the next thing to do is turn on the stove on high so that it can come to the boil, and that vent pipe we spoke of can get a steady stream of steam going. And then once it's steady, then you start to count at 10 minutes, because it has to be a steady stream going for 10 minutes. So it's like 8:14. I think this has been going maybe 3 minutes. But what I'm waiting for now is I'm waiting for this to steam up, and then I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. The steam has to be coming out of this consecutively for 10 minutes. More time for you to kind of play around with it. Once it gets up to pressure, you want to make sure you're able to maintain that pressure at that 11 pounds, because if it goes back, you have to start your timer all over again. So once you kind of fiddle with it, you turn it down a little bit, you kind of make sure that it's able to stay at the 11 pounds of pressure, then you start your timer for 75 minutes. Okay, once the 75 minutes is up, you turn it off. You can move it over to the aisle that is, not heated, or you can leave it there until the pressure comes all the way down. That silver button, which is the air vent lock, goes down, and then there's an overpressure plug, the black button that's in the back, should be down as well. I apologize for my camera. I don't know what's going on with it, but anyway, the pressure went down to 0, and the overpressure plug and the air vent cover lock went down, and so I was able to take off the pressure regulator, and then now I can just remove the cover and reveal my creation. Okay, I'm going to record my cell phone because the memory card is full. And this is our can of beans. These are our black beans. Okay. They look overcooked, don't they? Man! Okay, and these cost me nothing. They cost me nothing. Because basically by the time, look, they're still going. Oh man, this is so amazing to me. I hope I didn't overcook y'all though, because I know I was trying to get that pressure. I was trying to get that little thing right. But y'all gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right, honey. It's gonna be all right. All right, look at my lima beans. Look at that. These are the scarlet runner. These are the lima beans. Okay, don't touch, don't touch. These are my scarlet runner beans. Cost us absolutely nothing because these are from seeds that I saved. And these are the black beans. So let's show you some before. These are the black beans before. And these are the black beans after. These are the lima beans before. And these are the lima beans after. And let me show you the scarlet runner beans before. A little bit before, okay? These are the scarlet runner beans before. These are the scarlet runner beans. And I done heard, woo, you hear that? That's magic to my ears, honey. I mean, not magic. It's what, music? How you say it? Music to my ears, honey. Music. Oh, man, I'm too excited right here. I am so excited. These are our own beans. We can. We don't have to go to the store and buy none. Oh, let's go over pricing. Before I forget, let's go over pricing. So let's talk a minute. Let's talk a minute. I have to tell you something. Okay? Now, these beans, where's my can? My fake can. Let's see, it is my fake can. Okay. This costs $1.69 at Safeway. Okay. Now, these are organic garbanzo beans. I know you can read. And these cost me 48 cents to make. 48 cents. Not even 50 cents, okay? Yes. And so I can make 4 times the amount that it cost me to make this. So in other words, for every 1 can that I buy at the store, I can make 4 of these. So if I choose to not can and go to the store and buy this, then I am losing out. I'm paying 4 times the price of what I could be paying. And that's crazy. So henceforth, I will not be doing that again. We will not be buying you because I know how to can and I ain't scared of the pressure canner. And then I know that I am cutting the bill down 4 times. Am I saying it right? Same thing for the black beans. Actually, the black beans 4.5 times because this is 37 cents to make. Organic black beans. And that cost me 37 cents. It costs, a can of beans costs $1.69. Yes, $1.69. They cost the same as these. So the black beans cost $1.69. They cost me 37 cents. So I can make 4.5 cans for the price of 1. You understand that? Now, check this out. Your, who are these? What's these people's name? Lima beans are very expensive, okay? Especially non-GMO lima beans. This can cost $3.29 in the store. I paid 74 cents. So it's still, I can make 4 of these of what it costs for 1 in the store. I can make 4 of these of what it costs for 1 in the store. Let me point to you. I can make 4 of these is what it costs for 1 in the store. Okay? Are y'all hearing me what I'm saying here? Okay? So you can get, when we're talking about beans, 4 times the amount of food. Right? So whatever you got on your shelf, if you got canned goods like this, or organic canned goods like this, then you could get 4 times what you got on your shelf for the price of what you paid. Okay, and I mean you can't beat that with a stick. Okay, so I still got another round to go, but I'm just going to close this out by showing you this is overnight. And you want to wait till overnight before you take these lids off, the whatever that part is. And I heard a lot of popping going on, and I could tell that these are sealed, but the best way to tell is you pick them up like this. You try to pick them up and the lid doesn't come off like that, and now they are ready to store. Okay, I could have put a little bit more water in there, but don't worry, it still would be okay. It's my black beans, and they stay still cooking for a long time. So these are my what's her name, scarlet runner beans, and these beans are they're like potatoes. They're very, not the word tough, but they're very firm, and so even when you cook them, they don't fall apart like these other beans. Like the black beans is very tender. So I can't wait to get into these. I am going to open one. I haven't decided which one yet. Okay, so it's going to be the lima beans today. I'm going to open them and cook them with, mixing them with some contender bush beans that I grew last year, August. These are a very good bean if you want to can or preserve. They're very tasty, very prolific. And then some peas from last month. I'm going to mix them together with some carrots and let you know how it turns out. So I popped the top. It was hard to get off, but I just tasted the beans. They are delicious. The ones that are on top, they're not hard. They still have a nice texture though. They're not over soft.